Welcome back, everybody. Monday Morning Briefing, episode number 53. It's November the 10th. This week has already been pretty busy as far as just trying to keep up with stuff going on the website right now and trying to get prepped up for our Black Friday sale that we are having. So a little bit more about that here in just a minute. But we did get our next shipment of the Gunsling pattern packs in. And so if you purchased one on back order, this is the only one that we're allowing back orders on right now. And so if you did purchase yours to reserve your copy, you may have already gotten an email notification letting you know that Claudia's already shipped it out. She should wrap the rest of those up today, and then whatever we have left, we will update the website. So we'll keep the back order thing open for now. And so if you've been, because we got another order in as well, just so that we have plenty of them coming into the fall season. So if you haven't gotten yours and you're wanting this, you can go ahead and grab it on back order, or you can wait until we update the website. But we'll update the website with what we have left after we fill all the back orders and stuff. I want to thank everybody who's bought that pattern pack. That one has seemed to be really, really popular, which is great and just lets us know that people were really, really wanting to see this project in particular. The video is doing really, really well. I've had a lot of requests over the last year or so on doing a rifle sling video and pattern pack. So we finally got that done, and we're really thankful for how well it's done. So we thank all of y'all who have purchased a copy of that. And like I said, we do offer the digital version of that as well as the Buckhorn briefcase now for anybody that's outside of the United States, particularly if you're wanting to order that, because we don't ship products currently outside of the United States. So if you're wanting a copy of this and you've got a printing company that you can deal with and take the file to, you can definitely purchase the PDF file of this pattern and take it in and have it printed. Because remember, it's 3 foot by 4 foot sheets of paper. This one is actually just one of those sheets, but it's a 3 foot by 4 foot. The Buckhorn is actually, I think, 4 pages, and so you'll need to take that somewhere where they can do large format printing. As we get closer to Thanksgiving, we're prepping up here in the shop and trying to get our inventory built up, because we are going to be doing another Black Friday through Cyber Monday sale like we did last year. It'll have some of the same sale items that we did last year. We still need to finalize a few of the details on that. Claudia and I are kind of ironing out all the details of what we want to do and what inventory we're going to have. Last year we didn't really sell a lot of material packs. This year we have been selling a bunch of material packs. As you've noticed, we've added on the bifold wallets, the money clip wallets, knife sheaths, pancake, and the foldovers. And so we're trying to build up the inventory so we have plenty of those, and we'll do our best to keep as much of that on the website as we can for that weekend for that sale. So that's what we're kind of working on this week, is just trying to get all those details ironed out, how much inventory we need and that kind of thing. Like I said, keeping enough inventory on the website is something that we're trying to navigate and trying to figure out on how much product we actually need. So hopefully we'll have plenty on there, but like I said, we'll be running that. It'll start Friday at midnight and it'll run through Monday, Cyber Monday at midnight. Next week, I'll give you the full details of what items will what kind of specials we're running, what kind of sales we're running, that kind of thing. So if you've been wanting to get some of our digital pattern packs or some of our material packs, then you might wait until, like I said, that weekend, that Cyber Monday weekend, because we are cutting a lot of inventory, but right now we're just holding it back so that we're sure to have plenty of inventory, or what we feel is plenty. As you know, you guys are amazing, and everybody that's on our newsletter and everybody that watches our channel, some of our stuff sells out pretty quickly, but hopefully we'll have enough that maybe it'll last through the weekend and we'll have plenty. As like with everything else going on right now, some stuff is getting harder to get a hold of. We haven't noticed it so much on the material side of things. Our tannery, Herman Oak Tannery, is doing an amazing job, has kept us filled with leather for the most part for the year, but they are running a little bit longer lead times and stuff like that. We are expecting a shipment of leather in, I'm hoping this week or next week, and so if that comes in, we should have a lot of belt material packs on there as well. So if you've been needing some of those, I'm hoping to have plenty of those available for that weekend sale. I don't know that they'll be on sale, just because those are kind of the most expensive part that we cut out of hides, and the price of leather is going up. So I'm not sure where we're going to land on that as far as the sales price on those. There may not be much of a sale on the belt material packs, but there'll be sales across the website on other places that should be able to kind of compensate and help you out a little bit during that time. I know that after the Cyber Monday deal, we're pretty much on a mad dash till Christmas time, and I'm going to mention it again. You might want to go ahead and make your last ship date a little earlier than you normally would, because we're already seeing, just in some of the stuff that we've shipped out of here, we've seen a little bit longer lead time. Some of the stuff that we've ordered that's come into the shop has taken a little longer than it usually does, and I would just kind of keep that in mind as you go into December after Thanksgiving. Is just kind of you might try to go ahead and ship those products that you've got to ship across the country, in particular, like out of state. Maybe try to ship those a little sooner than you normally would to ensure that they're going to get there. I'm thinking that's what we're going to try to do. I'm going to try to keep my last ship date for maybe December the 10th, just so that I've got a good 15 days there to ensure that stuff gets there. If we get down to the wire and we've got to ship something later, then we'll just kind of cross our fingers and hope it makes it there. But we're seeing a lot of mentions about that, about the longer lead times in shipping, both UPS and the post office and stuff like that. So, but just keep that in mind. I don't really see a big problem. I think that those companies are pretty used to handling, Christmas season, high ship rate level, stuff like that. But it's just kind of, it's our first responsibility to be sure we get it out there early enough, and that way it makes it there on time. I would backdate that kind of stuff and just kind of keep an eye on it as you go into December. And if you got to ship something on December 20th and just pray it gets there, then go ahead and do that. We got to do what we got to do to get products in and that kind of thing. As far as what we've been working on this week, I went ahead and started a few of these shave kits. I've got a few cut out. I'm making some for the floor. I don't know how many I'll end up with out there, but they'll be on the website as well. We're just kind of making some items that will be available for people that are doing that last minute Christmas shopping that maybe couldn't get an order in. Our books are currently still open on small items like wallets or belts. I can still fit a few more of those in there, but when it comes to larger items, our books are closed on that. Most craftsmen will close their books. Most shops close their books around Halloween, somewhere around there. Like I said, we've been really focused on the channel. We've been really focused on creating content for you guys and different material packs, and kind of working on that side of the business so much that we haven't really been focused on taking a whole lot of custom orders, but we're starting to take a lot more at the moment. And so that may change. I may close my books by Friday. Just kind of depends on what all we take. But right now we're just getting a lot of requests for smaller items, and I've still got some room. But I want to make some stuff like these shave kits, or like wristlet purses, maybe some extra belts, knife sheaths, things like that. I want to have on the sales floor. One, because we're going to have an event in December. I think it's December the 10th and 11th. I shared it on our Leathercraft, DG Leathercraft Facebook page, but they're doing a wine walk just like they did last year. It's supposed to be a little bigger this year. They're going to have more vendors. They'll have a street dance. They'll have stuff during the day for the kids. I think Santa Claus is coming here and that kind of thing. So it ought to be a pretty good size event. So I want to be sure to have a fair amount of stuff on the sales floor for people that are poking around and just hanging out downtown and want to come in to see the shop, that we have stuff available. And just like anything else, if you're going to shows or little market days or something like that, focus on keeping a good quantity of the smaller items, the $50, $60, $75 items, stuff like that, as well as maybe a few of the larger pieces that call for a little higher sticker price, just because people that are moseying around, especially during Christmas time, you'd be surprised how much of that stuff you might end up selling at something like that, whereas in June or something like that, it may not sell quite as well. But the small items are always good to have in your booth or in your store, because those are fast little items that people can take a chance on if they've never purchased anything from you before, and they can kind of pick those up fairly inexpensively. But I made 2 of these shave kits. I did a couple things different. One is I added a D-ring. If you've gone through this project pack, this project video and the pattern pack, you'll remember that I put a slot or a bag punch right here in each corner through the gusset and the front panel, and that's where this handle mounts into. We've done them like that for years and years, and when I was making these, I decided I wanted to try to put a D-ring there, just because I think it would look a little bit more professional maybe. It's a lot easier to put the handle on, because if you've watched that video, it's kind of cumbersome to try to punch through after this thing's put together a slot right there. And so I made a little tab, and I tried that with a little 3/4 inch. This is a little 3/4 inch solid brass D, and I think it worked out really well. I think it looks nice. The handle's a little more comfortable to deal with because it's not so rigid. It's on this D, so it can kind of move. And so if you're going to make some of these this Christmas, you might give that a try. And it's just sewn in when we sew the gusset around. You sew those D's in there, and it works out really well. Also, what I did was ended up shaping it. I've seen a bunch of folks online that do shape theirs, and we shaped them back in the day, but then we kind of got away from it and left them straight, thought that looked better, and now we're coming back to kind of shaping them a little bit more again. I think all in all, they look better shaped. Like I said, I've done them both ways, where I've just left them straight up and down. But I think when they're shaped a little bit, they look a little bit better, a little bit more professional, may pack in a suitcase a little bit easier, and they're still easy to get into and get your stuff in and out of. So that's just a couple of different things that I changed on our standard kind of shave kit. So we're going to try to get a few more of those made. One thing I was trying to do was I was trying to track my time on making these, because I've got to reevaluate the price on these. I've never really charged enough for these. But we never made a lot of these. We made a lot of these at Christmas time. We'd always have 4 or 5 of them we got to make at Christmas time. But outside of that, during the year, we never really did. So that's why I never really put the time into pricing them like I price everything else. And so I was tracking my time, material costs, that's easy to figure out. But the time, I started out tracking, I made 2 of them. I can't show you the other one because it's a gift. But I was doing that, and then the phone would ring, or somebody would come in, or Claudia would have questions, or I have to help her with something. So I kind of lost track of my time. And that's one of the hardest things when you're pricing stuff. And we've talked about pricing on the podcast. We've talked about pricing on, I've written an article on pricing. We've talked about pricing on this Monday morning briefing video. Pricing is one of them things that we're always going to have to monitor. We're always going to have to watch. We're always going to have to kind of adjust and tweak. And it's not going to ever go away. So you need to get in the good habit of always kind of monitoring your price, tracking your time on jobs, especially new things that you're making that you think, I'm never going to make this again. Go ahead and track your time. Get a sheet for it. I've got a binder. Let me grab it. I started a binder last year, and it's just a cheap 3-ring binder. But I've got notes in here on different material costs. Like I go ahead and figure up my retail price per square inch and per foot for different materials: kangaroo, goatskin, veg tan, chap leather, different things like that. And that way I've got a card with the price per inch on there, so I can use that when I'm figuring. Like I said, I use a spreadsheet to figure out my pricing on most items, and it takes care of all the incidentals, the overhead, and different things that you may not be thinking about. But I started a sheet for every job. So this binder has a sheet for every type of item that I've priced up till now. So every time I do something new, I can go ahead and do a spreadsheet, get it all figured up, print it out, put it in here, and then I can make extra notes as far as like if I change this or if I don't tool this, what then would it be? I kind of go from there. It's just a good archived database, so to speak, of pricing on different items, and that way if I make another one of something, even if it's a one-off deal, I can go back to that sheet and at least look at what I charged, why I charged that, what were my hours that I estimated in that project, and then material cost and that kind of thing. Then you can adjust from there. If you're building an item similar but either more expensive or less expensive, you can kind of go off of that. And so I would recommend doing that. I've been doing it, like I said, since last year, probably last fall. I started putting this binder together and just pricing different things and really focusing on our pricing and kind of where we're at and ensuring that we're charging the correct amount per item. And it's been really helpful, especially when we take and say build another one of these. We've already got it priced out, roughly tooled like this, and then somebody wants one, fully tooled with full paint and some, different types of themes in there or something. I can go through there and I can quickly just take my tooling time and change that in that original sheet and then come up with the price for that particular item. When you're in a custom shop, pricing stuff sometimes can be really tricky, and it is really tricky, or else that trend of us talking about it all the time wouldn't come up. And it's mainly because every item we build is different. Every item pretty much has a different amount of tooling in it, a different amount of assembly time. Maybe there's something that the customer requested that really throws the build time off. Maybe they requested an exotic leather, and exotics are up right now or they're down. You've got to kind of be able to bounce back and forth and look at those things. And I just want to mention, during Christmas time, this is a great time to start a log per item or on a notepad or something to where you just track your time. I usually break it down into tooling time, cutting time, and assembly time. So if I'm cutting out, say, a saddle, I'm going to time myself. I pretty much know, since I've been doing it long enough, I know about how much time it takes me to cut a saddle out. But if you're cutting out something like that, track that cutting time, then track your tooling time, and then how long it takes you to put that together. The interesting thing on that is you'll find a lot of items, the bulk of your time is going to be in the tooling. That may not be surprising to you, but sometimes it is that you spent 3 times the amount of time tooling, drawing, designing, and tooling that project, and then it went together in 30 minutes. Rope can lids are a lot like that, because basically all you've got is tooling, and then once it's tooled and painted and all that stuff, you just glue it onto the rope can and you're done. And so that's kind of one of those situations where it's interesting just to see that. I charge the same price for cutting, assembly, tooling, painting. My hourly rate is the same on all of those things. I don't charge any more or any less no matter what I'm doing. But that ensures that each job is priced correctly because it's still time for time. If I was to charge more for my tooling than I did for me cutting parts out, then it would be very hard for me to take the time to go cut parts because I'm making less money. And so you don't want to do that. You want your hourly rate for your labor to be the same throughout, no matter what you're doing, because that's just the nature of the shop. If you're when you're pricing this stuff, you want to be sure that you've got a good handle on how to price it. It's way more than just labor plus materials. A lot of people just use that. Well, I spent 2 hours on it, $50 an hour, it's $100 and I had $20 in material, so I'll charge $120. The thing you got to remember is, and we've talked about it before, but you're forgetting the profit. And so if you'll take yourself out of your business for just a moment and pretend like you have to hire somebody to do that for you in the shop and you can't work on it, you're the business owner, then that labor cost is going to go to that person, whether it be in a paycheck or a paycheck and taxes paid to the state, whatever's going on, that labor cost is going to come out of there. And so basically you're not making any money. The business is not going to make any money because you forgot the third part, which is the profit. So you want to be sure that you're tacking on a profit on there. If you've got questions about that, go to our website. In the search bar, just search pricing your product, something like that. You'll find that article that we did where I show you basically what my spreadsheet does. I'm going to dive deeper into pricing, I think, after the first of the year. I'm going to really try to break it down, maybe do a video. I don't know how exciting a video is going to be when we're sitting there doing math and talking about pricing, but it is what it is. If we'll do one there maybe, and then maybe I'll do another article or something. But I want to get the information out there as far as I see it now. I know that's going to change as I go through my career and stuff. There's some really good resources out there on pricing. There's a really good book out there by a saddle maker, and unfortunately I can't remember the name of it now, but if somebody knows, put that in the comments. But he did a really good job. I have not read the book, but I've heard a lot of great things about it, about pricing, and I actually visited with him in Waco some, and just from that short visit, I really think he's got it pretty locked in as far as how to price stuff correctly from a business standpoint. I just think that's a lot of our problem when it comes to shops that are having trouble or struggling or something like that. It all usually comes down to the pricing. If you're not charging the right amount, you're not profiting the right amount, the business is going to suffer from that health-wise. So just kind of focus on that through Christmas. I'll try to do something after the first of the year, and we'll dive a little bit deeper in it, and hopefully I can clear the mud a little bit and at least show you a way to look at it, and then you can take it from there and adjust it to make it work for you. But the biggest thing to remember is that labor plus materials is not your price. That's not your sales price. That's your cost of that product. That's just cost. That's like if you bought something at wholesale, you're gonna, when you get it in your shop to sell it, you're gonna put a profit on top of that. If you don't, you're just trading dollars and paying bills. You're not actually making any money. So look at that through Christmas. Kind of track your time, start a little log or something so that you can start gathering data on how long it takes you to, say, do an accent tool on a gunslinger. How long does it take you to tool 2 panels for a wristlet purse? Get that time, because that's what's going to help you when it comes to the pricing, is knowing true time and how long it takes you to build stuff. Last week we showed you a bunch of new leather that we got in from Lewis Leather Sales, and we've already started cutting some of that up. That leather will probably be on the website in material packs. We're cutting up a bunch of inventory for that stuff, and we're going to put that on there. Like I said, we'll probably wait until the Cyber weekend sale that we're doing, the Black Friday sale. But I am making a few pieces out of some of that leather for the sales floor. And this one here I made with the shrunken bull hide in the dark brown that I got. This stuff is really, really nice. And if you've got an idea for a bag, or you've got an order for a bag over Christmas, give Robert at Lewis Leather Sales a call, because he has this shrunken bull hide over there, and it is really, really nice stuff. We sold a bunch of wristlet material packs out of the coyote color. That's what he calls that, as coyote. I don't know how much of that he's got left, but I know the dark brown he's got quite a bit. I think he's got one other color of this. But this stuff is really, really nice. It's really perfect for these little wristlets because it folds and turns really easily. And so I was really happy with this little purse. I just did a kind of a floral basket combo on here, and then just did a light oil antique. And I actually sewed it with a gold thread, and probably can't see it very well in the video, but I think it looks pretty cool. And so we're going to get that put together, and a few more hopefully, and get those on the sales floor. I also worked on these rifle scabbards that I showed y'all last week that we had cut out and tooled. Real quick, I want to point something out. You'll notice this big blemish on this one here. This one's just for the sales floor. It's not for a customer. But I wanted to bring it to your attention and kind of show you. I didn't need to bring it to your attention. You can see it from a mile away. That mark I could not see when I cut this piece out of the hide. Now, you maybe could have seen it if you really studied it really hard, but I don't remember ever seeing that mark. That is not a dye stain. That's not anything but a very old scar or a range scar or something like that that was not on the dry leather. Like, you couldn't see it. I mean, it was there, but you couldn't really see it. You had to really study to see that, and I missed it. And then when I oiled this project, that thing turned that dark, just like the first coat of oil I put on it. And I oil these after I've already got them put together. So we've got a lot of time already into this piece. It's pretty well done. All we've got to do is make the straps, and then you go to oil it and you end up with that. And it's really kind of out of your control because you did notice it when you cut it. And honestly, this one would have been hard to pick out. It would have been hard to see in that leather. It's just something you'll run across these occasionally, especially when you're doing full slick pieces like this that don't have any tooling. And so I just wanted to bring it up and kind of show you what can happen, you know, as far as that goes. I wouldn't worry about it. Like, I'm going to go ahead and sell this. We're not going to discount it or anything like that. To me, that's a natural piece of the leather. That's one of the things that we have to explain to customers. This is a natural product. You know, it was out in the pasture a year ago, and so you're going to see some of those marks. I would have preferred that not to be there. If I would have seen that or noticed it when I was cutting it out, I would have certainly shifted over and tried to cut around this best I could. But it's not something that just makes this thing need to go in the trash at that point. If it was just for a scenario, if this was for a customer, I would probably, one like that, like some of these little ones on the back, I wouldn't even worry about. That doesn't, to me, call for any kind of attention or anything, but something like that, in it, where it is on the piece, I would probably send a picture to the customer and say, hey, look, this is out of my control. This shows up after we oil it. You know, it's not something we can tell before we make it, but if you want me to, I'll remake the piece. If you're okay with it and you think it looks kind of cool, adds a little character, I'll leave it. You know, it's not going to hurt anything or anything like that. I try to be open with customers when I run across things like that, because it's better than just not saying anything, sending it to them, and then they're like, well, what happened? He spilled dye on there or whatever. Just kind of go up front, kind of just be honest, and just, this is what it is, and then kind of go from there. Most customers will be like, I'm not worried about that. Like, if we're going to use it or whatever, I think it looks cool, you know, whatever. You'd be surprised what customers think about scars and stuff. But I would definitely bring it up and just kind of mention it. But I wanted to show you that just because I don't know if you've ever experienced that, where you had a fully slick panel on maybe a binder or a portfolio or notebook or something. Then you go to oil it, and you end up with a scar that comes up out of there that you didn't see before. It's common. It's going to happen occasionally, and unfortunately there's nothing you can do about it because you're too far into the build at that point. So it's just something that we have to deal with when you're working with leather. This is the other one that we did that's tooled, and so we got it all tooled and antiqued, and we just got to make the straps for it, and it'll go out. Trickiest thing with this one is I got to try to find a box that this will fit in. I'm hoping I've got a leather box from Weaver or something like that. I can cut down and put that in there and ship that across. As far as the buckhorns, we are sold out of the buckhorn patterns right now. Real quick, just to go back to the patterns, because I just thought about it, but we did sell the last one a couple days ago. We do have more on order, so if you go there and notice they're sold out, we're not allowing back orders on those at the moment. We'll go ahead and update the website once they come in, and so if you've been wanting that, remember we do offer that in a digital for anybody that's outside the United States, or anybody in the United States that just wants the digital version and doesn't want to wait on the mail for the hard copy. Also, real quick, last week we did have an episode on the podcast. Finally, you know, we've been real busy, and like I said, the podcast is just kind of a passion project. We put time into it as we can, and so there may be some dark time in there. This was our first summer with the podcast, so we had to kind of learn a little bit about that. But we did have one last week, and it was with David Bond with Lucky Bee Designs, and he's a sign painter, sign writer, pinstriper, and a cool cowboy from California. He's in Waco, Texas now, but he's originally from California. Really, really nice guy. I've been following him for quite a while on Instagram. He's got a really good Instagram following, a really good page. His stories are really neat, and you can kind of watch an old-time sign writer actually hand painting lettering and graphics and things like that on walls, on buildings, on trucks, trailers. He does a lot of neat stuff. And so if you get a chance, be sure and check out that episode and all the other episodes as well, and subscribe to Lost Trade while you're there. But you can also go to Instagram and check out David Bond. Just search David Bond or Lucky Bee Designs and check him out. He's really a neat interview. We talked about a lot of stuff, and I mean, when you try to define lost trade, saddle making, leather working, hat making, and definitely sign painting would be what I would call a lost trade. There's a lot of guys out there doing it. We're going to try to do everything we can with the podcast, just like we are for all the other trades, as far as bringing those to the forefront and letting people know that there's still people out there earning a living doing those old-time trades like that. And I think the sign painting thing is really cool. I've kind of dabbled with it and played with it. It's a lot of fun, but it is way more of a skill set than you think. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of time to be able to mix color for one, and then also to get graphics and lettering onto whatever you're trying to put it on, and do it in a way that looks professional and that looks good. So we really enjoyed that interview, so go check that out. We also have another interview in the pipeline that I think you're going to enjoy if you're a big fan of leathercraft history and tool history and Tandy leather. Just to hint it a little bit on who the next one will be. It was a really fun interview, really eye-opening, entertaining. Learned a lot, and it's somebody that most of y'all in leatherwork will know and be excited to hear from, I hope. And it'll be a good interview. So hopefully that one will come out maybe next week. As we go into Christmas, we may have 2 more episodes, maybe 1. So figure 1 to 2 episodes we'll have to finish out the year. It's just going to be a busy season for everybody, and some of the folks that we want to interview are kind of tied up until after the first of the year, understandably, with the holidays and stuff. So we'll continue our kind of dark theme on the podcast as far as not having more than maybe 1 a month. Until January, and then hopefully next year we'll kind of get lined out and maybe expand on the podcast just a little bit. The producer and I have been kind of visiting about a few things and kind of where we want to go with the podcast and that kind of thing. So we'll definitely get back at it next year and see what that holds. But for right now, we're going to try to finish out 2021 and get this year wrapped up. I really appreciate you guys watching the channel, subscribing to the channel. We can't thank you enough for purchasing the pattern packs and stuff like that. Just for the amazing support and feedback from you guys is completely awesome. If you're not a part of our Leathercraft newsletter, please be a part of that. You're going to want to be a part of that before Black Friday for sure. And you can do that at dgsaddlery.com and sign up for that. And you just put your email and your name in there, and you'll be signed up. And then we'll send you anytime we send something out to the newsletter, you'll get that. We're going to get back to work today and try to get caught up. Like I said, I've got a lot of cutting to do. We got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of fun stuff. And next week we'll give you the full rundown on what we're going to be doing for the Black Friday sale. So you'll want to be sure and tune in for that. And I will do my best to get the Monday video out on Monday, maybe, or at least by Tuesday like y'all are used to. But hopefully I can get it out. I'm thinking I'm going to try to have it actually post Monday morning. So we'll try to do that. Otherwise, we'll see y'all next week in the Monday morning briefing.